Hello, I'm Kevin Anjamaris, and thanks for watching this online demonstration, Socially Distant Ceramics. This is part of the Aberdeen Art Gallery Museum's programme events in support of Aberdeen Art Society Coming Home online exhibition. I'm hoping this virtual session will allow you to undertake a clay project from your own home, providing time to connect and be creative with others as part of an online community. The session is ideal for beginners and is also great for those who have tried ceramics but would like to learn new skills. I'm going to demonstrate various hand building and press molding techniques which are present in my work using tools and materials you can find at home. I've set myself up in the kitchen with a stool to sit at, but you must want to stand. It's easy enough to clean up at the end, but you might want to put an old sheet down just in case. If you want to make it along at home, you want to have a couple hours free and the following to hand. A surface to work on. Ideally, this would be an untreated wooden surface to stop the clay sticking. But if you don't have this, you could use a small wooden chopping board, some cardboard, or an old cloth. At least 1 kilogram of clay or air drying clay, which can be bought at Hobbycraft or any art material shop. Something to cut the clay. This tool was made using gardening wire and a piece of a chair, but you could use a kitchen knife. A rolling pin, or something similar. A bowl to act as a mould. Tape and cling film to line your chosen bowl. This helps stop the clay sticking to it. A small container for water. A hairdryer can be helpful to help release and firm up the clay from the bowl, but isn't essential. Lastly, you'll need a sponge and an old towel to clean up after yourself. You might also want to wear old clothes or an apron. In addition to the list mentioned, you might want to try and make some of your own tools from what's around you. For example, a sushi mat, a lemon juicer, a fork, a pasta rolling pin, or a cookie cutter could all be used. So, with your 1 kilogram of clay in front of you, you can prepare it by using a technique called wedging. Wedging is a bit like kneading bread. Clay is wedged to expel any air trapped within it and help make the clay more workable. Also, if a clay object is fired in a kiln with trapped air, it will explode, so it's a good idea to first learn how to wedge clay. Cut your block of clay in half using your wire tool or butter knife. Next, make your clay roughly into a ball. You can do this by squaring it off and flattening down the corners using your hands, followed by knocking it between your hands until it's round. With your hands either side of the clay, push the clay down and away from the body. Then bring the clay in halfway over itself towards your body using both hands. Continue doing this in a rolling motion using both hands. This method of wedging is often called ox or ram head, as the piece of clay should look like an ox or ram's head. You might find it easier to stand up to wedge. It's not always necessary to wedge clay cut straight from a new bag, as it has been extruded and the air expelled during the packing process, but it's good practice to do so, and handy if you want to reconstitute any leftover clay. Make the clay into a ball again once you have finished. This method of making pottery involves hand building using slab or coils of clay and a mould. Press molded pots are made when clay is laid within a mould. In this demonstration, I'm using a bowl that I've lined with cling film to stop the clay from sticking. Press molds are usually made from plastic as it's highly absorbent and will remove water from the clay, allowing the slab or coil to be easily released. Tear or cut off a piece of cling film and lay it into the bowl, securing with tape if required. With your clay and bowl prepared, use your rolling pin to roll out a slab of clay no thinner than 1 centimeter. Ensure you change the direction of rolling to achieve an even result. Clay can also be stretched out by flipping it over like pizza dough. Lay the slab of clay over the top of the mould and gently push the slab into the mould. It's much like making pastry, and you might need to cut and fold it slightly if it's a deeper bowl. Cut around the edge of the mould to remove any excess clay. Put the clay offcuts to one side, as we could use them later. Tidy up the rim of your bowl using your sponge and water. Air drying clay can dry out faster than regular clay, but try not to use too much water, as we want the bowl to firm up. Set your bowl aside to dry in a windowsill or near a radiator, for instance. It might take a couple of hours to do so. As the bowl dries, take your saved clay offcuts and roll out to a similar thickness as before. These can be used as test pieces or relief decoration for your bowl. You can leave them the shape they are and test some decoration options on them, or you can use a cookie cutter and make small test tiles to decorate. Try out some of the tools that you've found around you. Can they be used in different ways? Clay is very forgiving, so if you don't like the mark you make, you can easily rub it back using a finger or sponge. You can use a straw to make a hole to hang them. Once you're finished your test tiles, set them aside to dry along with the bowl. Any spare clay can be wedged, made into a ball and wrapped in cling film or plastic to stop it drying out, and can be reused for another project. Once the bowl is drier, or ideally leather hard, which is when it's a similar flexibility to a leather belt, it can be removed from the mould, tidied up with a sponge and water, and decorated. If required, you can use a hairdryer to help release the bowl from the mould. Tidy up the edge of your bowl using a sponge, water, and your fingers. Your bowl can be decorated using relief and incised decoration as previously demonstrated. To attach one of the test pieces made earlier, scratch the area of your bowl as well as the back of the test piece using a fork or something similar. Use your water and sponge to wet the scratched areas, repeating this process of scratching and wetting to create a clay slip on the two parts. Push the two parts together to join. Ideally, you should see slip coming out the sides of the join. Run your finger or brush along the edges of the join to make sure they're attached to the bowl. An alternative to using slabs would be to use coils to press mold your bowl, a technique humans have been using to make pots for thousands of years. Cut sausage-sized pieces of clay off a prepared piece of clay or straight from the block. You can either make a flat, rolled out base or start your bowl with coils. If using a flat, rolled out base to start your bowl, you might want to cut it out using a template. Roll a sausage-sized piece of clay into a long roll shape, coils, starting in the middle and pressing lightly to ensure that they remain round and the thicknesses are the same. Try to spread your fingers as you roll and aim to make your coils no thinner than 1 centimeter. With your bowl prepared, lay your flat rolled out base in the bottom and start building coils on top of each other, or start using coils. Each time you cut a coil, try to start the next coil in a different place, otherwise this will become a weak area in your bowl. Continue building and smoothing the inside of your bowl until you have reached the edge of the mold. Remove any excess clay using a knife. Once the bowl is drier or leather hard, it can be removed from the mould and decorated. You also have the option to leave the coils as a decorative feature, but the outside of the pot can be made smooth also. Once your bowl is dry, you can finish it in various ways, including using paint, varnish, or PVA glue if you don't have access to a kiln. Otherwise, it can be decorated with coloured clay slips and fired to 1000 degrees Celsius and further finished with glaze. I hope you enjoyed this virtual session and managed to make your own project at home. Thanks again for watching, and to Aberdeen Art Gallery Museum and the Aberdeen Art Society.